Hello, beautiful souls. You are very, very welcome to my channel. I am Nikita, and today I am going to be helping because a lot of people have asked how should they recognize whether in any relationship of theirs, be it family, their parents, siblings, friends, marriage, or even a romantic relationship, whether they are putting up with toxic behavior or any form of unhealthy relationship patterns, or whether they themselves are carrying those, and how to recognize, and of course then how to heal those aspects. Now that might take very long for me to cover, so I'm going to be doing this in a few parts. And today we are going to talk a little bit about some of the main things which are influencing us because of what we have observed as children. And this happens, the imprinting happens between the first 5 years to between the first 7 years, when you do not have any opinions of your own. What I'm also doing is, with this deck and maybe another one, I will just take promptings from spirit in case I have overlooked, because there's so much. And when I start channeling, you might have noticed I sometimes don't even fully complete a thought or a sentence, as so much information starts flowing. So, what happens is, when we are born, of course, our soul has chosen a certain lineage uh, for us to fulfill our karma, to pay off karmic debts, and but also, most crucially, it is so that we may automatically step into certain prevalent belief systems, conditioning, behaviors, etc., as our genetic imprinting, and even by conditioning when we are raised in a certain family setting, be it with beliefs, how they deal with emotions, situations, etc. And now, when you are an adult, it's up to you whether you want to continue that, you want to heal that, you want to completely undo that lineage pattern of yours, step aside from a certain dysfunction, because we don't just receive dysfunctions, we receive our gifts, our abilities, blessings, good karma as well from our family. So, what is it that you wish to imbibe, and what is it that you wish to clear out, is where your free will and choice, and how much you're willing to evolve and change. What are you willing to let go and surrender, is going to be in your hands. So, when we are born and we start observing, and our first lesson of love is whatever we observe vis-a-vis our equation, our relationship from our parents. Now we have all kinds of people with different personalities, and I want to give a disclaimer here. This is not so that you can, or it's not that I am judging or criticizing any of these what we are going to be talking about. It's about recognizing, it's about awareness, and then, as with everything else, seeing where are we carrying it, or where are we projecting those things onto other people who are on in our life or on our path, so that we can stop projecting, mirroring, we can stop living in a false illusionary world, and actually see people for what they are, and they can see us for exactly what we are, so that we can move towards healthier equations, relationships. Now, if you had any of these, you will know it, because today I cannot talk way in depth. I will be just touching upon certain topics, and whatever resonates, you can probably do a deep research. There are many videos, there's Google, they're very reliable sources where you can go to a healer, a past life therapist, you can go to a psychologist who can assist you to get your complete healing. So, if when you were born into a huge family, uh, you may not have got the time and attention that you needed. So, you start your life from a survival mode, a sense of, if you are a sensitive kind, you would grow up with a feeling of not belonging because no one had the time for you. Or if your mother was, for example, unwell and your father was really really busy because he was in a very crucial stage of his career, you understand each story. Everyone is trying to do the right thing. Most people are trying to do the best they can with the resources or the choices they think they have in that situation. And with every passing decade, the rules and situations are changing. So, what they were passed down as good parenting might not be the parameters of good parenting now, for example. There was a time when no one in any country wore seat belts or had car seats for children, but then now it is completely illegal in a lot of countries. That is not to say that the parents in the 60s or 70s did not love their children. There was a time, those of us who grew up in the 90s or 80s, even we could go out and play in the gardens and parks with our friends. And when the street lights came on, we knew that was the cue to reach home. We did not have mobiles, our parents could not keep track of us all day long, right? Then there were those of us who had overprotective parents and they did not let us go anywhere. So they were trying to do the best with the information or the genetic codings and imprints they themselves received. So please do remember at this time not to judge or to point fingers or blame. This is to assist you figure out what kind of imprints you have received. It is again about self empowerment. It's about healing yourself, your wounds, coming from a place of compassion for everyone involved. So, if you were a sensitive soul and you've had a sense of not belonging, not being seen or heard, then all your relationships that have followed, be it with friends, teachers, colleagues, marriage, in laws, with your coach, with your healer, with your groups, with anyone in your romantic relationships, you have felt that over and over again. The situations may be slightly different, the faces and names of the people involved may have changed, but what hasn't changed is that feeling inside of you that I am invisible, or maybe I don't matter, or that I don't belong here. Now, if you were born into a very conservative family, um, you may have moved slightly away, because when we are put into extreme, if it was a scale and we are put on one extreme end of the scale, we do tend to move the opposite way in a form of trying to take back our own power. But what happens is we are still on the same scale. We have not changed the timeline, we have not changed the pattern, we have just gone into a another point on the same scale, same template. So it does come out sooner or later within us. What are these things? Such as prejudices. If you have, from the time you were born, heard only hate or prejudicial opinions vis-a-vis a certain caste, community, culture, race, or that, oh yeah, for Westerners that's fine, they have no XYZ, they have no moral compass, or their morals are different from us. Somewhere, without you being aware, you carry exactly that. You may be drawn to the Westerners because you crave the freedom you think they have. It does not mean that you have overcome that prejudice. It just means you're drawn to it because you think they are that. Okay. So you may end up either hating or becoming a huge advocate for that particular caste, community, creed, etc. So, some of the dysfunctions that we may have received from our families could be things like, if a lot of, or someone significant, mother, father, grandparent, someone very significant, was used to resorting to emotional blackmail, making you go on a guilt trip, if not just you, their partner, or any other relative. If that's how you saw someone getting their way, is by crying, by giving, by threatening, emotional blackmail, by giving the silent treatment, you think that is what is love, that is how to get your way, you think that is normal in a relationship. If in your family you saw a lot of shouting and screaming matches, yelling, fights, conflict, more than usual, but for you that is the normal, you will think that is the way to resolve a problem. But when you step out into the world, people label you as a very angry person, very difficult to get along with, or you start projecting. You always think someone is upset with you, is judging you, because that's what you are subliminally, unconsciously, subconsciously doing as well. Projection is a huge part with what you have faced. For example, if a boy has grown up in a family where he has been undervalued all his life, told he's a loser, he's always going to be a failure, he's never going to amount to anything, and he has not yet found his ambition or his purpose, and so he starts believing in this, so he decides to become a people pleaser. He tries very hard to win the appreciation, the approval, the love of people around him, but they always keep denying. But in his head, love feels like nagging. Love is equal to someone putting him down. An alternate healthy version of love, when it comes his or her way, they will not even recognize it, or they will run away from it, because in their understanding love is something completely different and opposite, and they think this is unnatural. How can someone accept them, want to just be there with a failure that they have been convinced that they are? And then what happens is, if there is someone who comes to them with an open heart, they will project all the things that people told them about themselves onto this person. If not the behavior they received, the snubbing, the silent treatment, the discarding of them by certain people, the rejection they have faced, they will now throw it on, project it on, behave that way with the person who is actually bringing them true, genuine, healthy love. Because that's the only way they know how someone responds. That's all they have experienced. Apart from emotional blackmail, they could have been brainwashing. How to recognize brainwashing is whenever you find yourself, when you're narrating a certain story about your childhood, about when somebody says, what's your dream, what's your ambition? Um, and if you ever find yourself saying things like, now it is my dream, I also want it now, or my father always wanted me to do this, and I am also on board with this dream. I also think when there's these words of also and now, okay, which means originally your dream was something entirely different for yourself. It wasn't this, and now you have given in to what somebody else has wished you to live, or to do in your life. Other projections you could be doing or carrying, or the dysfunctions you could have faced, is about fears. Don't step out of the house once it's dark. Men cannot be trusted. Men only want one certain thing. There are two kinds of women: either they are the Madonna, who is the virgin, or they are the prostitute, the whore, the slut, or the easy loose. There's judgment, there's fear of someone being different. Okay, it can also be about ambitions being transferred. There's a lot of transference that takes place. Hate about a certain food. It can be as simple as food, a color. It can escalate to an entire community, race, religion, anything different. It can be about a career. Oh, everyone in the media is of loose character, they sleep around with everybody, that kind of thing. And that's how prejudices are formed. That's what you heard all your life. Oh, only fair skin is beautiful, things like that. Oh, isn't she beautiful? She has long hair and fair skin. Oh, she's so beautiful. She's so slim. She has so maintained herself. And when you find yourself not living up to those standards, you automatically come to the conclusion that means you are not handsome or beautiful, because that's what your family taught you was the parameter for beauty, for example. A dysfunctional kind of family, one of them is very enmeshed. Everybody's in everybody's business. There's no concept of privacy. People don't have their own rooms. They feel they have a right to barge in, hold an opinion, give you guidance, tell you exactly what to do. When your desires, your dreams were never considered, even while choosing subjects in school, or what career should you have, at what age should you get married, what should you be wearing. You were never given a time to experiment. They were so afraid for you to make mistakes, whereas mistakes is how you discover who you are. You were not allowed to travel alone or experiment with different hairstyles even. You were not allowed to date, rather it was fixed in your head you should be with just one person all your life. So you didn't even know what is the kind of person you ever wanted to be with. That's being very, very enmeshed. Then there is the opposite range of this, of very aloof family, where everyone is in their own corners doing their own thing, never sharing, only having very practical, on the surface intellectual conversations, need to basis. There is no emotional bonding or connection. Please understand, I'm telling you very extremes. It can be somewhere in the middle as well. There can be moments when they are very enmeshed, and other moments when they are very aloof and swinging like a pendulum between, right? They are sometimes not very clear cut, but you can observe and realize what are the main patterns. Then there's avoidant, where everyone avoided actually addressing, talking about, or dealing with anything which was slightly upsetting, unsettling, uncomfortable. Be it a sex scene on the television, they would change the channel. If somebody was emotionally upset, they were told to hush up and not cry in front of the children, rather than tell the children that even grown-ups could be going through certain emotional issues. If someone is a widow, for example, it was just accepted that all desires, dreams, libido, everything should have been died with their spouse. and they just assume that they, whatever their age might be, if someone is a mother, for example, they should not have a life outside their children. This whole and sole purpose in life is to be a mother. They are no longer an individual, whereas each and every one of us is an individual first, and then comes any and all roles that we may be playing, may choose to play, or be involved in or not. Be it you are someone's son or daughter, you're someone's wife or husband, you are someone's father, mother, you are someone's brother or sister, you are someone's best friend, you are someone's employee, your employer. All those roles come as the subshoots of the individual that you are. But one of the trainings you may have received is you have to be only one particular role. In the avoidant family, what you learn to do is suppress anything that is of an uncomfortable nature. So when in any relationship, as you grow up, there's discomfort, your reaction is to just run away, to just tell, somehow, to get back to a superficial normalcy and just leave it at that. There is no real dealing with the issues, there's no addressing of the issue. On the opposite end of this is the confrontational, where everything becomes very aggressive and everything needs to be very melodramatic, where everything leads to huge fights, loud voices, and yet no results are ever resolved. And here is where the unhealthy pattern of one running and the other chasing, it's, you will see that there's always one person who gets angry and the other person who is trying to get them to start talking again, and they say sorry. They're the first one to make the peace offering. Then there is, of course, narcissism. If you had one or both set of parents who have been narcissists, how do you recognize this? And I'm not talking about the psychological disorder, which is a huge medical disorder, but I'm talking about certain traits when everything was about that particular parent, be it your success, be it your failure, your achievement. If it was always seen as a reflection of them, about their standing in the society, where every conversation of theirs is about them and never about you, where they don't inquire about your well being, where only they want praise from you or from everybody around them. Just whatever conversation it is directed towards them, they will somehow just turn it and make it about them. I did this for so and so, I did that for so and so, I managed to get ahead without anyone's help. They're always boastful. Another trait is, no matter what happens, they will turn it around and make it your fault. You are too sensitive, you're just making this up, it must be your imagination, you are too timid, you need to take more control, you need to be, more stronger, you need to be more aggressive, you need to be more ambitious. Okay. uh, the third trait is, if they abused you, be it verbally, emotionally, physically, in any other way, they would turn around and gaslight you. They would tell you, look what you made me do. If you had just listened to me, if you had not done this, if you had served the food on time, if you had not put less salt in the dal, I would not have lost my temper. These are some of the traits of a narcissistic parent, and they might have not been like this towards you, but they might have been like this towards their spouse or the people around them. And what that teaches you is that, um, in your future, you are drawn to people who are equally dysfunctional or narcissist, and you start putting up with that, thinking that's normal. Then there is a dysfunction around shame. it can be about what the society is going to perceive, and so you have been taught from a very young age to be afraid of society, or doing things that is against sanskriti, against the set rules, against certain dictats and norms, and doing things to win approval, applause, appreciation from those around them, be it their colleagues or their neighbors. It is always about prestige and status. Also, they make everything about shame. Even if you make an innocent mistake, you are made to feel extremely shameful. They may be resorting to telling your mistake to people, never assisting you how to overcome, rather just lecturing you about how wrong you are or how your moral compass is broken. Okay, be it having normal desires, it is always about moralistic righteousness. It's never an understanding with, be it in your teens about your hormonal changes, be it about sex education. Everything is judged by the parameter of shame, and shame is associated with morals. Then there is a set of dysfunction around codependency, where you have grown up seeing a woman just, not just, but being in the home, not having a say, the husband giving a certain amount of money each month, she having to take permission even to go to the market or meet her own friend, meet her own family, needing a approval and sanction and a permission slip from the husband or father-in-law before she can even step out, be it to study, be it to pursue a career, anything and everything. She has to be in her place, and her place is kitchen and with the children. Or with the man, it is about, he is supposed to be the disciplinarian, he's supposed to be non-emotional, he's supposed to be sorted at all times, he's supposed to be the ATM for the entire family. He's not ever supposed to be weak or emotional or want to take a day off or have hobbies. And so, in this sense of codependency, a child who's raised seeing that all around, they start looking for a partner to fill that role in their own life as well, without first learning to be self sufficient, independent, financially independent, being responsible for their own emotions, knowing that you need to first try before you reach out for help. Another aspect of codependency is that there is always, they are trying to bail you out of a situation before you have even tried to bail yourself out, and hence they become the crutch. They enable, there's an enabler kind of family setup where they are like, oh, but he's just a child, or no, no, he will grow out of this, never teaching the child how to be, um, how to fix a sandwich, how to wash clothes, how to keep their room clean, to be responsible for their own, never teaching the child how to be independent emotionally, whereas the child has a safe place to go to when in trouble, when they have, when they are going through something, but before that, actually trying to solve or resolve things on their own. There are mothers who will tie the shoelace of a child who's even 10 years old, or feed food with their own hands. They are the enablers who will keep making excuses and covering up, never letting the child learn to take responsibility for their actions or grow from the mistakes that they might have been making. They don't teach the child the concept of consequences, and that's a rude awakening when that child comes out into the real world, and then they feel they're entitled to success and money and a perfect relationship, and everyone should just cater to them, and they don't understand why it is not coming to them. Then of course there's a dysfunction that comes from someone not having a parent who is not present, be it that they are orphaned or they have been sent away from their family due to financial reason, or one or both parents are in some other city because they have employment there. Whatever that cause might be, no, this sometimes leads a huge void and a sense of being abandoned by the parent, which leads to a huge fear of losing and leads to a lot of clinginess, possessiveness, suspicions, fears around being left, and that the person you love or are in a relationship will abandon you, will leave you, will break your heart, and that they will go away. This also happens sometimes when you have lost someone very dear to you, like a grandparent or a parent, at a very, very young age, and no one explained what happened. In fact, they tell you they've gone somewhere or something instead of explaining the concept of death, and you feel very abandoned by that person. So then comes rejection. If you are criticized, if your gender, if your personality, for example, you have a very practical parent and they find you too emotional and you're always criticized and judged for being very, very emotional, or vice versa, if you are very good in art but your parents wanted someone who's artistic or homely or docile, if you are an adventurer, then you feel rejected for being you, and you think you need to become somebody else, you need to do something other than what comes naturally to you to win the love and affection of others, till you will not realize that you don't have to work to win someone's love. You have to heal these wounds, accept yourself exactly as you are. Well, I will be making another video on what you need to do to start healing on your own. But yes, these issues, and especially if they're your core wounds, if this was your family setup, any and multiple of these, then you will definitely need external help and a lot of counseling as well, because you will feel defensive, you will feel you're being disloyal even to address it. You wish to protect your parents, you think that you are somehow blaming them, or if you are you will, some of you will have been brainwashed into don't talk negative about your family or don't criticize your parents, which is not what you're doing. You are trying to heal certain aspects so that you can get over it. But I will make a separate video. And then a third one for this is how to be in a healthy love equation and how to be in healthy relationships. That's what I'm going to be doing next for all of you. So I really look forward for your feedbacks on this video, and because a lot of you do log out before I sign off, I'm going to request you here. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It's free to receive notifications when my new videos are uploaded. Please hit the bell icon after you've subscribed. And if you find my videos helping you, assisting you, bringing you new insights or insights over old situations, please do give it a thumbs up, comment, and if you are willing to, please share with anyone else on any social media who you think may also benefit from my videos. So here are some of the cards. What do we need to release at this time, or along with those who are watching, whenever you're watching this video with the dysfunctions? Surrender your belief in scarcity. The universe is asking you to open to the infinite nature of abundance. In this way, you can remove blocks in your life and succeed beyond your wildest dream, even vis-a-vis your relationships. That if you're carrying beliefs, I will never be loved, I am never been loved, I've never been accepted, I have never belonged, I have always been criticized, I need to be perfect to be loved because everyone told me that, or people need to be perfect before I will love them. That is a form of scarcity in relationships. Surrender to miracles. Once you start your healing, once you start accepting yourself, loving yourself, and an affirmation here for you would be, I am loving, I am lovable, I am loved. Okay, so surrender to miracles, because when you start healing yourself, when you start clearing out these blockages and removing these dysfunctions from your own life, what comes in is miracles. Be open to miracles occurring in your life. When you needed it the most and this video has come to you, it's also the universe stepping in and bringing you this information. Feel and know that these events are real. Let go of any resistance and banish any doubts that miracles can happen. Surrender outdated beliefs about yourself. So, no matter what labels you have been given as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult, or even yesterday by anyone outside of you, I always say take compliments to your heart. Just enjoy the feeling and let it wash off. Take criticism not to your heart but to your mind, analyze it, take the constructive part of it and throw the rest of it off. It is not your truth, but there might be some merit. You can be given a pointer what you need to work on, or you may be, that is how the universe is making the world mirror what you need to work on. But if you are carrying outdated beliefs about yourself, that you are not pretty enough, you're not rich enough, you're not lovable enough, you're not worthy of true love, you will always need someone to bail you out, whatever it might be, now the time has come for you to release those outdated beliefs of yourself, especially the ones originating from your past, your childhood, from these genetic imprints that you have got. Now is the time for you to empower yourself, take your power back from people, anyone, and soar in your life. Surrender to what is, instead of wishing what is going on in your life, wishing your past was different, wishing your childhood was different, wishing your history was different. Every experience you've had, accept it, because it is making you into what you are. It was important for you to go through it. Accept it, stop wishing things away, so that you can then see the blessings and lessons hidden in that experience and flow with what is instead of fighting it. When you can't change a situation, be it in the past or in your current life, compassionately accepting it exactly as it is will bring you peace, and you will be able to be in gratitude for what it is freeing you of, reflecting to you, mirroring to you, freeing you, helping you, lessons, blessings. You'll be able to see it for what it truly is when you get out of wishful thinking, wanting it to be other than what it really is. Surrender the drama. All the things that I've talked about today, you must have realized leads to a lot of drama, whether in your brain, in your heart, or in your surroundings with the people around you. No matter how emotionally charged the situation, remain calm, remain centered, and don't contribute to the drama. Staying centered will help resolve the issue more quickly. Yes, I will be making separate videos on how to stay centered, etc. Okay, so what are you healing, or what do you need to heal at this time? And the reason why I was so pushed to make this video today is that there's a hole in your soul coming from these dysfunctions that you have faced in your childhood or in your family situations, and now you have to address it. And it may be around the feeling of being rejected. I've already spoken about it. You can rewind and listen to it. And because you have felt rejected all your life, you could have been selling yourself short, selling out, settling for lesser than, putting up with abuse, be it of verbal nature, psychological nature, allowing people to bully you, push you around, criticize you, you know. And you can see it in yourself, if when somebody is being so kind and generous to you, and all you can do is criticize them, be more demanding, feel uh, you know being entitlement, or you think that just because you're paying for something that it you deserve more and more. If you're trying to buy someone's love with money or gifts or flattery or being a people pleaser, you're selling yourself short when you're not pursuing your heart's truth or the career with of your passion. You're selling yourself short because you're afraid of future rejections, because you have a history or a past which is connected to this program of rejection, and you need to heal that because it's left a dent, a hole in your soul. And you've been going through this. This pattern has been repeating in your life in cycles. It's been again and again. You may have changed friends, you may have changed partners, you may have been moving from one person to another. Be it whatever you have done, it's the same story which has been repeating because you have not yet healed the core wound. And you need to now rediscover your life purpose. I have been talking about this. This is a time when the universe is asking each and every one of us to step in and discover your life purpose and to follow it, to stop selling out, to stop being afraid of rejections, to stop going out in the old safe patterns that we are used to mend that hole in your soul, in your heart, and to take back your power, your energy from those who have taken it in the past, be it of jealousy, of envy, of materialism, whatever their patterns were. You can choose a different life, you can choose a different story, you can choose a different reality for yourself, not by denying what has happened, not by suppressing it, by addressing it, by sitting, introspecting, by dealing with your shadows, by healing, by asking for help when you can no longer work on your own with yourself. Use crystals, use affirmations, call upon angels. All right, do listen to the messages and guidances coming your way at this time. And I'm going to close today's video with my favorite postcards from spirit, because it always has the perfect message to wind up one of these kind of videos. But I would love to hear from you all what resonated, which part of it could you recognize, or what do you now know that you need to work on. What are the areas that this video has shed light on which you may have been in denial about, you have felt guilty about addressing it or speaking about it. And that's perfectly fine if that's what you've been doing this far. But this video might be coming to you because the universe might be telling you now it's time to deal with this. Dearest you, the simple yet powerful law of cause and effect means everything is in relationship. Every action on earth has a consequence, and even in the spirit world, there is a consequence for every action taken on your behalf. Right now, you're facing conditions that were set in motion by past decisions. Consequences are coming into your being in your favor. They will remind you that making good choices and listening to your intuition pays off. If some things are a little off and uncertain, know that whatever you're facing, you can step beyond it just by using your imagination and acting on that instead of reacting to what is being presented. Everything you think and do has far reaching reverberations in the web of life. Move to higher ground and have faith that what goes around comes around. The universe is always self correcting anyway. Isn't that amazing? We adore you. Dearest you, a rigid tree branch breaks under strong winds, yet flexible seaweed survives powerful ocean swells. Right now, we gently remind you that being flexible is a good choice when faced with life's challenges. Surrender your fixed ideas to Spirit, who knows what is in your highest good and can deliver to you what you need in the appropriate form. in this moment. Rather than fighting or being too sure of your way working out, be a little looser and allow for another outcome. Compromise can be the best way forward if you are to learn new ways of doing and seeing. You see, conditioning. Stay aware, curious, and teachable. How teachable are you? Take life on life's terms. Your purpose may push you in a direction not on your map. Let it. Be so flexible that no storm can uproot you. In the end, you will still be rooted in the world in abundance, and you will indeed experience the beauty that is yours. We love you so much. Both these postcards are carrying very deep and profound messages. Please do rewind and re listen and take how it applies to your situation in your life, because it has too many meanings and my video is already way longer than I intended it to be. So I'm going to leave you all with a lot of love and light. This is Nikita, looking forward to your feedbacks, and so much love to all of you. God bless.